Howdy guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to a recap of the Challenge Devil Agents episode 14. Can you believe that we're that far into it? I mean, look behind me. How many people have been eliminated from this competition? How many people have their gold skulls already? We are very close to the finale. I can't hardly wait to see how this thing all finishes up. But before we get to that point, before we talk about what happened this week, let's talk real quickly about what happened last week as we get into this week's episode. So last week, women's elimination. We lost Gabby. She lost to Nani. Hard fought battle, but Nani gets the final women's gold skull. So at this point, there's no free gold skulls available. All of them have been distributed. We've got two people still in the house who don't have a gold skull, and that's Cory and Big T. Either one of them, if they want to continue on to the final, they're going to have to win. They're going to have to take a gold skull from someone who already has it. So it's getting a little intriguing to see how this is going to work out. But Nani got her gold skull. Not only that, it also gave her the power to then switch partners if she wanted, and she wanted. She chose Fessy as her new partner, which left Anissa without a partner. She's a little happy, not very happy that Fessy got taken away from her. But once Nani takes Fessy, then that leaves Anissa without a partner. She takes Kyle. Kyle's not so happy to get picked by Anissa either. In fact, TJ's laughing all about it. But Anissa takes Kyle, and that means that Big T ends up with the partner curse, Cory. Now, it's interesting that Big T and Cory end up as partners at the end of this thing because they're the two people in the house that don't yet have a gold skull. They're going to be the ones fighting harder than anyone else to get into the Elimination Arena this week to win that gold skull. And it's interesting. We don't know. Last week was a women's elimination. Makes you think maybe this is a men's elimination, but without a rogue agent waiting by. This could be a men's elimination. It could be a women's elimination. Heck, all the gold skulls have been distributed. It could be something completely different that TJ's going to throw at us. We just don't know at this point in time. But it seems like most people inside the house maybe are leaning a little bit more towards this being a men's elimination just because it was women's last week. So that's what happened last week. We see everyone getting back to the house after that competition. Nani obviously is excited that she's got her skull. But we see at this point in time, Kyle is talking to cameras a little bit. He's worried. He figures that now that people are going to have to go back into the ring and protect their gold skulls, he really feels like he and Anissa could be prime targets to get put back in the ring and have to defend those skulls. Anissa, because she seems like she's an easy target. Kyle, because he mentions that he just doesn't really have any friends in the house. He's kind of a lone wolf, that everyone will be targeting him. He's afraid. So he's saying he has to do whatever possible to win this next competition so that he can't be put into the Elimination Arena. We'll see if that happens or not. We also see Cory talking about that he wants the house to vote him in. He's ready to go. He's going to campaign to the house to please vote him in this week because he doesn't have his gold skull. He wants to be in. He's campaigning to Leroy and Darrell, who are both saying, look, I'd love to help you out, man, but it's a little too early. Let's see who wins his first competition. We'll see what happens at that point in time. He's also campaigning to Anissa that he wants to go in. He also mentions to her that if he goes in, he'd love to then go up against Kyle because he feels like that's his best chance to get a gold skull, which is fine. But remember, Kyle is Anissa's partner. So if Kyle goes into the Elimination Arena, Anissa goes in there with him as well. And again, we don't know for certain that it's a men's elimination. So if that's to happen, it's going to put Anissa's game a little bit at risk. So it's putting her in a difficult position. Cory's her friend. She wants to see him get his gold skull, but she doesn't want to risk her own game either. So we'll see what kind of decision making maybe occurs as a result of that conflicting interest right there. We do see now the competition start, and this is a cool competition, and this is literally a cool competition. It involves diving into freezing water, very clear water. You can see forever, but each team has to, as a team, jump into this water, swim, 20, 30, 40 feet underwater. They've got full wetsuits on. Okay, you got to have that in this competition. They also have a very small scuba type breather because they have to get in the water, pull themselves underwater along this rope till they get to the end where there are 6 rings secured underwater. They have to grab all 6 rings, make it back to the original starting platform, and they have to do all of that without ever reaching the surface of the water. They have to stay underwater the whole time. If they break the surface of the water, either partner, then they're disqualified. So it involves swimming with the scuba breather, grabbing the rings, getting back. Once you do that, then with these 6 rings, each ring is marked up with some different little markings that correspond to a key code, different letters of the alphabet. So once they get back, they take the 6 rings, figure out what 6 letters they represent, and then they have to unscramble those letters to solve the final puzzle. Whoever does that the fastest wins. It is a neat competition, and I gotta say, I'm scuba certified. I got my PADI card. I love scuba diving. That would be the good part. The bad part, getting in that cold water, that would not be my favorite thing to do, but you do what you have to do. Now, before they start the competition, it is a little bit interesting because Leroy and Casey won the competition last week, or were the rogue agents or the double agents, and they as a result, they get to pick the order of teams, how they're competing this week. And there's some politics involved with that. There's some strategy involved with that. And they end up picking Anissa and Kyle to go first. And everyone recognizes if you go first, it probably means that you're the primary target. And sure, Anissa or Leroy and Casey really don't want Anissa and Kyle to win this thing. So they've put them up first to go. And then we've got an order after that. So Anissa and Kyle go first. They get in that water. They do pretty well. They swim all the way down. They grab the rings. They make it back to the starting point without surfacing, so they're still in it. They pull out the rings. They start going back and forth, figure out what each ring represents, unscramble the puzzle, and the answer is decode. And it seems like they do pretty well. Now, they're the first team, so we don't know if their time is great, slow. We just don't know yet. But they're happy with their performance and just happy that they work together and everything's gone well. Other teams, not so well. We see Cory, we see Amber, we see Nani, all 3 break the surface. They can't even make it to the rings, if I recall. As soon as they get in water, pretty much are having problems with breathing and such. And they surface, so those 3 teams are disqualified. Next up, we see Cam and CT. They grab the rings and get back to the starting point, start trying to solve their puzzles. Now, Cam and CT both consider themselves to be puzzle masters, very good at solving puzzles, and they are. But working together, maybe not so much. The communication suffers a little bit. It's a bit of an issue about who's a chief and who's a follower. They're both trying to solve it their own way. It probably slows them down a little bit. But eventually, they do solve the puzzle as well. So we've got 2 teams that have solved it so far. And then finally, we see Casey and Leroy as the last team. In the water, they grab the rings. They make it back pretty fast as well. And Leroy has talked about that he does not like the water. He does not like swimming. But that guy's a fighter. He gives 100% every single time. No difference here with the water. As much as he hates it, he still fights his way through. They make it back up to the surface as well and seem to solve the puzzle rather quickly also. So we've got 3 teams that are in the running to win this thing. TJ gets them all together and announces that the winner of the competition this week is Anissa and Kyle. Yeah, so Kyle gets his wish. Kyle's going to be protected this week. No one can throw him in the Elimination Arena. Now, on the other side, I thought about it. Kyle doesn't really want Anissa as his partner. By them winning this competition, it means they're safe. It means no one can win the elimination and then steal Kyle away from Anissa and split that duo up. So there may be some downside to it, but at this point in the game, I think it's so much more important from Kyle's standpoint that he just wants to make sure he's not thrown in the arena, that he has his gold skull going forward another week. And so he got his wish. They worked well together. They truly did. So we'll see what happens with this team. But Anissa and Kyle have won the competition. They now have the power to decide one of the 2 teams that's going to go into the Elimination Arena. And there's a lot of strategizing that occurs at this point in time. So who's the house going to put up? Are they going to put up Cory and Big T, who don't have their skulls yet? Are they going to try to identify some target that they don't want to see in the finals, put them up instead? It's a lot of discussion that's going to go on at this point in time. Now, Big T is talking to Cory, and she's saying, I know we have to go in and get our gold skulls, but what if we let the house vote someone else in first, and let's see who it is, and then we'll let Anissa and Kyle put us in to match up against them, rather than us having to campaign to people right now and all of that. Well, Cory thinks about it, but he's not nearly as trusting as Big T is that Kyle and Anissa will actually come through and put them into the competition. He's worried that someone else may get voted in, and he doesn't trust Kyle at all. He suspects that Kyle then may throw in some some other strong player, maybe Fessy and Nani or something, and put them in with the idea that some strong player is going to go home as a result. So Cory's not nearly as certain that that's the path for them to get into the Elimination Arena. So we'll see what happens with that. Now Kyle has his target. Kyle knows who he wants to vote in. He wants to vote in Leroy and KC into this Elimination Arena. And the reason being, back when KC and Leroy were picking who went first, who went second on this competition, when they targeted Aneesa and Kyle as the first team to go, Kyle now wants to repay the favor. He's saying, y'all were trying to target me. You trying to get me out. I want to put Leroy in instead and pay him back for him putting that big old target on his back. So Kyle's looking for vengeance. That's his objective this week. Would you expect any different? So he wants to have that happen. We have some discussions between Cam and Leroy. I remember Cam and Leroy, they're dating partner, different partners, different teams in the game, but they're dating each other. They've been working closely together, obviously, as a result of that. They're talking about needing to cast votes perhaps for Darrell and Amber. And that's because they feel like Leroy very well could be the target this week from Aneesa and Kyle, or even from the house voting them in. So they want to try to get Darrell in instead to try to protect Leroy. So that's kind of what we're seeing is the possible teams that the house is going to vote in, either Darrell and Amber or Leroy and KC. Seems like the names that keep getting mentioned more than anyone else. Now, Aneesa has a good point. She talks about the fact that tells Kyle, says, look, what if we vote in Cory and Big T? Because everyone wants them in. No one's going to be upset if we do that. It'll keep any blood off of our hands. If we don't put them in, if we put someone else, someone's going to be mad at us. Someone's going to be chapped. Let's just put in Cory and Big T, let the house vote in someone else. It's a good idea, but the house vote occurs before Kyle and Aneesa make their decision. So it may be out of their hands. We're going to find out. We also see a discussion, and this surprised me a little bit. We see a discussion, Nani's saying that she really regrets moving from Kyle to Fessy, taking Fessy as her new partner. They didn't work well together in a swimming challenge. Fessy kicked a little hard as they're going off the platform. I guess kicked Nani's mask off her face. She surfaced. They just didn't do well. She's saying she just doesn't feel like she works as well together as with Fessy as she did with Kyle. So with that in mind, if it goes in, if they're one of the two teams in elimination and it turns out it's women's, would Nani switch back? I don't know. It's certainly a possibility, that would certainly surprise Fessy, who thinks that everyone wants him as a partner and would be absolutely backstabbed if that was to happen. So at this point, we do see the house deliberation occurring. It's not much of a deliberation. There's really not a lot of discussion. Cory wants in. He says, look, give me my chance, please, guys. Let me compete for that final gold skull. Big T, who had originally talked about, maybe let's not ask to be put in, but just let Aneesa and Kyle do it. She backs off. She says, no, I want to go in too. Please put us in. And so that's about the extent of the discussion inside the house. When it comes down to a house vote, it really, again, seems like it's either Leroy and KC or Darrell and Amber as the team that's going to be voted in by the house. And as it turns out, when the votes show up, it is Darrell and Amber going in. And I think 6 other teams voted for them to go into the Elimination Arena. So we're going to have Darrell and Amber. And if it's men's elimination, that means Darrell's going to be having to defend his gold skull against whoever Kyle and Aneesa put in. Now, Kyle, and there's a reason Cory was a little suspicious of Kyle for right here. Kyle starts talking to Aneesa, say, look, why give Cory and Big T a chance? Let's put in a strong player. Let's put in CT and Cam, force CT and Darrell to go each other. Or let's put in Fessy to go up against Darrell. Let's get out a strong player at this point in time. But Aneesa's turning that down. She said, no, I'm not going to do that. We got to think about our friends and all of that. I'm not going to do it, Kyle. But he's pushing. He's still trying to get in one of the really strong duos and get one of them eliminated. Cory knows the game. He knows that he can't trust Kyle too far in terms of the kind of decisions he's going to make supporting friends and things like that. So we now get to the Elimination Arena. And again, we've got Darrell and Amber, but who are Kyle and Aneesa going to put in up against them? Kyle says, well, this game's all about revenge and strategy and power and all that. But in this situation, we're going to let friendship take the lead. And I'd like to put in Cory and Big T. And Anissa does the same thing. So I'm glad to see that they've finally have their chance to compete for that gold skull. So they get down to the Elimination Arena. Is it men's? Is it women's? Yeah, as everyone kind of suspected. It turns out it's a men's elimination. And that means that we're going to have Darrell going against Cory in this elimination event. And we've seen it before. This is the Tug of War. What do they call it? Operation Snapping Point. But it's basically a tug of war where they're both tied together with ropes. Whoever can run through some poles, get back and hit their button first, wins. But of course, they're each pulling against each other to see who gets to that ring first. And it's going to be a 3-round competition. Whoever hits that buzzer first twice is winning. The other person's going home. It's very similar to the competition we saw Devin and Wes compete in earlier this season. So round 1 starts off, well, when Wes and Devin competed, it was endurance. They both snapped at the same point, just out of reach of the button. It was all about digging in with your thighs, pushing forward, getting a little leverage on the other guy and hitting that button. Not this time. This time, we never see any of that. Cory takes off. He's just faster than Darrell. He manages to get around all the posts back and just barely is able to reach his buzzer, but hits his buzzer before the rope even tightens up, before Darrell had gotten to his spot in the racing back to his button. So as a result, Cory has won round 1 of the competition. So now Darrell's under the gun. Again, he's defending his gold skull, but he's got to win the next 2 in order to do that. TJ blows a horn. They start off again. Looks like they're pretty close, but not close enough. Once again, Cory just proves himself to be a faster runner. He gets to just reaches out, extends, hits that button just by the fingertips, but hits the button before Darrell has managed can get far enough to tighten up the rope and keep Cory from reaching the button. So Cory wins it 2-0. Darrell is eliminated. Cory has gotten his gold skull, and there you have it. So now we've got one person left in the house who doesn't have a gold skull, and that's Big T, because Cory has now stolen that gold skull. Not stolen. He deserves it. He played a hard game. He's taken the gold skull from Darrell, and Darrell is heading home as a result. So now Big T's the only one without a skull, and Amber is the rogue agent for next week. It's not a horrible position for Amber, because with this being a men's elimination, you got to figure next week's going to be a women's elimination, that Big T may get her chance to compete for that final gold skull. I hope she gets a chance. But Amber, because she's the rogue agent, even though she lost Cory, because she's the rogue agent, means that she can't be thrown into the Elimination Arena next week. So Amber gets to protect her gold skull without doing anything at all next week. I'm sure she is perfectly fine with that. She can't be put in the Elimination Arena. So Cory has his gold skull, but we're not through, because now we've got some partner swaps that potentially could happen. Who's Cory taking as his partner? He could he can take anyone basically, but Anissa, is he going to stay with Big T? Now that Big T's broken the Cory curse. Cory finally wins a competition, or their team does. Is he going to keep Big T? Could he betray her like CT did? Remember CT? He switched away from Big T and really broke her heart when he did so. Is Cory capable of doing the same thing? Well, yes, he is. Cory does not the same thing, but he also says, Big T, I hate to do it, but I'm stealing Cam from CT instead, which is pretty funny. Now, here's the thing. Yes, Cory does also break away from Big T, but he does it so much more diplomatically. CT went out of his way almost to talk about how happy he was to grab Cam and everything else. Cory, on the other hand, says, look, I'd love to stay with you, Big T, but you don't have a gold skull. I know you're going to want to go in next week. I don't want to have a partner who doesn't have a gold skull and potentially put me at risk. So nothing against you, but I'm going to take Cam instead. So that's pretty funny. CT stole Cam, and now Cory is stealing Cam from CT itself, and so he handled it the right way. So that's going to be a strong partnership there. It's actually pretty funny. He does that because now As a result, CT is without a partner. So who's CT going to pick? Well, it's kind of poetic justice. CT has all these people to choose from. He could pick KC, he could pick Nani, all these strong players, but he basically says, I made a mistake. I'd love to go back to Big T if she'll have me. I want to be there. I want to help her get her gold skull. And you just see the joy on Big T's face that she sees redemption. She loves hearing it, and she says, absolutely, I'm fine. And she mentions that she's the person who always has grudges, but in this case, she's willing to overlook them. So CT and Big T are back together. Yay, I want to see that. I'm really cheering. Obviously, I'm cheering for the Big Brother teams, but I really want to see CT and Big T do well. I so hope that Big T gets her chance to fight for a gold skull next week. If she gets it, great. If she doesn't, well, at least she got her chance to compete. So there you have it, guys. Again, just as a recap, Cory gets his gold skull. One person left in the house without one. That's Big T. If the gods are looking favorably on all of us, then Big T gets her chance next week. Don't know who she'll go up against. Don't know who she wants to go up against. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of strong women competitors left in this house. Will she try to go after Anissa? Maybe. A lot of people say that'd be the bigger target to go for. Maybe not. We'll find out. But there you have it, guys. Fantastic episode. Again, only one person without a gold skull. Now, TJ does tell us at the very end, just because you have a gold skull, that doesn't mean that you're getting to the final yet. So who knows? There may be some surprises in store. I have no doubt there will be, but we're very close to the end. Guys, y'all have a great week. I will see y'all next week. We'll talk about episode 15 and what surprises TJ has this up his sleeve for us at that point in time. Y'all have a great one, guys. Cheers, my friends. Bye.